The Hobbit, Chapter 1, An Unexpected Party, fifth video. So as usual, let's start with a little review from the previous video, from video 4. Okay. How many ants did Bilbo have? Or at least the ones we know of. Answer? Well, you need a little investigation, but 2 ants, right? Because if the old Took, had 2 sisters, there were 3 daughters from the old Took, so we can get the conclusion that Bilbo had 2 ants. Very nice. What did people say, like a gossip that went around the place there, about the old Took? Sorry, not about the old Took, but about one of the Took ancestors. Answer? Well, they said that maybe, one of the ancestors, one of the Took ancestors, took a wife, a fairy as a wife, right? Okay. Next question. What happened to the members of the Took family every once in a while? Answer? Well, every once in a while, some of them would go and have an adventure. Question. What was the family's reaction when one of the family's members left for adventures? Answer? Well, everybody just hushed up, right? Nobody talked about that. Question. What are 2 differences between the Tooks and the Bagginses? Answer? Well, you can have many answers, but remember, the Tooks are richer, undoubtedly richer than the Bagginses, and less respectable, right? Very nice. Question. What wasn't very Hobbit-like in the Took family? Answer. Well, exactly what we have just mentioned, right? They sometimes went on adventures, and remember, the typical Hobbit doesn't like an adventure, right? Question. What did Bilbo's father, Bungle, build for his wife? Answer. He built the most luxurious hobbit-hole, right? That could be found all around the place. Question. Where did he get the money? Answer. Well, we don't know the other part, but at least a part of the money was from his wife's family, right? From his wife. Question. How long did Bilbo's parents live in that luxurious hobbit hole? Answer. They lived there for the rest of their lives. Okay, so now we are ready to continue, right? Let's go to new ground here. Still, it is probable, be careful with pronunciation here, okay? Probable, you have probability, probable. Still, it is probable that Bilbo, her only son, although he looked and behaved exactly like a second edition of his solid and comfortable father, got something a bit queer. Queer is like strange in this case, okay? So although Bilbo was very similar to his father, no adventure, a traditional guy, a guy that likes to spend, his days, I don't know, sitting on the sofa and drinking tea. Apparently he got something a little bit strange in his makeup. Makeup here is not the thing you put on your face, like lipsticks and etc., but in the creation of this new hobbit, right? And he got that from the Took side. Something that only waited for a chance to come out. Something we could say in English dormant. It was there. This characteristic was right there inside of, Bilbo, sleeping. And it just needed a spark, like to start a fire, for this weird thing to come out. Of course, we have to find out what is this weird thing, right? Let me read this part now without interruptions. Still, it is probable that Bilbo, her only son, although he looked and behaved exactly like a second edition of his solid and comfortable father, got something a bit queer in his makeup from the Took side. Something that only waited for a chance to come out. The chance never arrived until Bilbo Baggins was grown up. Remember, grown up is another way to say adult, right? Until Bilbo Baggins was grown up, being about 50 years old or so, and living in the beautiful hobbit-hole built by his father, which I have just described for you. Until he had, in fact, apparently settled down. When you settle down, you kind of, you're not agitated anymore. It can be in many contexts, Let's imagine an experience. Let's imagine an experiment. You get, I don't know, a bottle of water, and what could you put in the water? You can put glitter, in the water. All right. And then you shake the bottle. All that, the little particles, will be floating in the water. If you just leave the bottle there, I don't know how much time, I don't know, 1-2 minutes it will take, but most of the glitter will settle down. Okay? I want you to keep in mind that image of a bottle full of glitter and water. I was thinking even better than water would be like, I've seen, somebody making something like that. You put, I think it's a kind of toy. Yeah, now I got it. You get a bottle, you put half of the bottle, water, the other half oil, like kitchen oil, and glitter, right? And then you shake it. And then you will see that after some time, if I'm not wrong, the glitter will settle down at the bottom of the bottle, the water will be here, and the oil will settle, not settle down, but will settle at the top, okay? I want you to have that image in mind. Let's imagine I am young, which I'm not, okay? I'm pretty old now, and I can't party anymore because my age has passed. I just have bingo to go to, teas to drink, things like that in my life. But let's imagine I were young, and I went to lots of parties, and then I don't know, bought things I didn't need, and then sold the things, and then went to live here, and then went to live there. So I'm just like this glitter floating, so I'm going everywhere. And then I decide, no, now I'm going to get married, I'm going to buy a house, and I'm going to have a family. I'm not going to move anymore. So I'm going to settle down. One more context I would like you to remember: settle down. I can get to the room. My students are not very well behaved. Oh, by the way, behaved, we have behaved here. Behave, right? When you behave well, it means you pay attention, you don't scream in class and things like that. Okay, so let's imagine I enter my classroom and the students are not well behaved. they don't behave very well. So they're screaming, they are throwing paper balls. Some of them, are trying to climb, the corners. Others are trying to get the lamp out of the ceiling, all right? And then I say, come on, guys, settle down, And then after I don't know what can I do. After I go there and kick two of them out of the classroom, the others will settle down. Okay? Settle down. You have this image of you're not moving anymore. Okay. Enough of examples, but just one more. Why, for example, there is a lake, the lake is perfectly transparent. When you walk, it's not going to be transparent anymore, because the mud will just, come up, and it will take some time for the mud to settle down again. Okay, so apparently in this part of Bilbo's life, he had settled down for good, like immovably. Nobody could move him anymore, apparently. So let me read it one more time, because there was too much digression, right? Still, it is probable that Bilbo, her only son, although he looked and behaved exactly like a second edition of his solid and comfortable father, got something a little bit queer in his makeup from the Took side. Something that only waited for a chance to come out. The chance never arrived, until Bilbo Baggins was grown up, being about 50 years old or so, and living in the beautiful hobbit-hole built by his father, which I have just described for you, until he had, in fact, apparently settled down immovably.